Hello, hello. Welcome to Building a Leadership Mindset podcast, the Be Great series. We are super excited to come here again with another amazing topic. I'm Nikki, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we have Dr. Carolyn Bobb-Green. Not only is she our
Hello.
co-host for this Be Great series, but she's also a proud sponsor of the Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Super excited to have her here and bring our topic today, which we will be talking about strategic thinking and decision making. So, we're going to have some great tips for you. We're going to pass it over to Dr. Carolyn, just kind of share how she's feeling today and what she is going to bring to the table. So, I'm super excited. Dr. Carolyn, how are you?
I am doing fabulous and super excited to be here and sharing one of my favorite topics to talk about. And I call it boss brain energy, just that strategic thinking, that decision making. I had to put on my tie because I had to get my boardroom thinking on so that we can bring you guys some strategic thinking and decision making tips and tools. And this is something that I know is going to help you level up your business in this season. I think, Nikki, just without a clear strategy, period, it's like gambling every single day inside of your business. And so I'm so excited to get into this topic with you today.
Yes, absolutely. And if we're going to gamble, we're going to gamble on ourselves and what we are creating. And with that gamble, we're going to prepare you with the tools to have in your toolkit so that you can make those decisions and really feel confident about what you are building, what you are creating, what impact you're looking to spread around the world and into your business and make it grow. It's all about being great in every area. And this is one that a lot of people kind of stand stuck at because there's no clarity, no clear picture. We have an idea. We know what we want to do, but how do we strategically place it where it's going to have the impact that it's supposed to, that it's meant to have? So we're going to start with my first tip, which is just clarifying that big picture first. Right. Strategic thinkers operate from vision, not confusion. We don't want any confused minds knowing what we're trying to put out there and what we're trying to help. And the actionable step for this is to begin every project or initiative by defining what is the long-term success. Sometimes we build an idea, and I was just talking about this. How many shows, TV shows, series have you've watched that started really, really well? It started with an impact, but once they solve the problem, they're canceled because they didn't think about that long term success. So many great shows that I'm like, oh my God, they left me in a cliffhanger. And you don't want to leave your clients, your business besties. You don't want to leave them with a cliffhanger. You know, you put out a program, perfect example. You have a 5-day masterclass. Let's say that's one of your products. You share it, you get it done. What do you do with your clients after that?
Yeah.
You know, you have to look at the big picture. Are you going to take them on a journey to the other products you have? Are you going to, have a lifelong relationship? So you want to set a 3-year vision, a 1-year vision, and a 90-day strategic. Those are all priority, right? You want to, and I said it backwards, but it's really 90, 1 year, 3 years, right?
Right.
For that. And the motivation for that is that if you don't define your destination, you'll drift anywhere. And we don't want any drifters. We want people to clearly know what the big picture is.
Yes.
Okay? So that is my first tip. And a sample is that before launching a new project, map out where you want the brand to be positioned in those three areas, the 90, the 1 year, and the 3-year vision overall. And it can go beyond that, right? If you are really looking for longevity. And that's my tip for you. And I'm always looking to see, like, how can we grow together and be great together with a clear picture. So
Yes,
For sure.
exactly. Yeah, I love that, and that is the focus that you want to go down. I want to dive into really understand what strategic thinking is. That's going to be my first tip. It's going to be shifting your mindset from reactive thinking to strategic thinking. It should,
Mm,
what do I need to fix right now? Well, what do I need to do today? And like Nikki said, you have to see the end results. Like you have to know what the end is and work yourself backwards. If you know that you want to have a program that you're going to pass down to your children, what is that going to look like today, so that you can get there? If you know that you want to be able to sell your business in the future, what does that look like today? And so you have to go beyond the right now and solving the today problems and start looking at the strategic long haul to getting to where you need to be. So when you're strategically thinking, you're really zooming out and looking at the big picture before you make a move. You have to really ask yourself, does this really align to what my end goal is? Every decision that you make has to be strategic and not just reactive, not just emotional, not just because you're under pressure, but you're moving with a purpose in mind. A lot of times we think that planning is a part of strategic, but strategic is beyond the actual plan. It is actually looking at how that plan that you made today is going to allow you to step into that future self, that future you. And so every time we have our strategic business meeting, we do this once a month. We start thinking about, okay, we said that this is where the business is going. This is the end result. This is what we want to do in the end. Are the decisions that we're making this month, are the decisions that we're making this week, this day, going to help build that legacy that we're trying to build? And I think a lot of times that we get into positions and we don't think strategically. We're just like, okay, I just need to get this done. Oh, I need to take care of this right now. And we're moving about that way for so long. And we'll look up and we'll be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, five, even 10 years in our business. And we're still going around that loop doing the same thing. Why? Because we haven't stepped out, zoomed out to see the whole big system, to see what we really need to do to move our business forward. So I want to challenge you guys, just take a step back, not to stop, but to pause and ask yourself, is what you're doing right now in your business actually leading you to the results that you want in the end game? So I want you to really think about what strategic thinking really is and get out of that reactive mode and start getting into your strategic boss mode.
yes, I love that zoom out. It's like that different vantage point. It's like that aerial vision, right? From up above looking down, just seeing all the pieces, which kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm about to talk about next. And it's really to train your mind to anticipate. The best leaders play chess, not checkers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They regularly perform different types of analysis like SWOT. They study competitors' moves. They do the future back planning. And I kind of touched base on it in my first tip. But this one really starts from the future state and work your way backwards, right? We build a culture of foresight, which is, again, the zooming out, seeing what that end result looks like, and encouraging the scenarios, planning in team meetings, in your one-on-ones with your team, and really like putting that all together. And the motivation there is really to think 2 moves ahead is the difference between reacting and leading,
Mhm.
right? We have to think 2 moves ahead. We have to understand what our clients are thinking, what they're looking for. That
Mm.
market research is so important when you're making decisions because, yes, a great idea to us, and it would be great. But without having the analytics behind it, without having, some structure there, and really understanding where are we going to take our people, you know in this process. So if you're expanding to a new market, you're anticipating regulation shifts, talent availability, the consumer behavior changes, not just for the current market size, but the future current market size, right? We really have to anticipate that. It's always it always takes that extra step. Sometimes we even miss that whole train of doing the market research and seeing what's going out there, and we're just putting stuff out there and hoping that it sticks and someone grabs onto that vision, and then we're kind of upset with ourselves because then we go back into doubt. We kind of totally scratch the idea or we give up, and businesses don't last without having that structure, that foundation. It's so sad because the potential is there.
Yeah.
The work has been put in.
Yes.
We've invested our time, we've invested our finances to build up, to get these certifications, to get this knowledge, that we again just try to put the knowledge out there without the plan. So plan backwards, look at the bigger picture, zoom out like Dr. Carolyn shared with us, and your decision making will just be so much easier. There's no time for pause. We know it's going to work once you have that foundation. So, yeah.
That is so amazing because you're right. A lot of times we do get into these businesses, and when it's not working, we become overwhelmed and we want to walk away. And some of you guys may be listening to this right now, and you may be in that place in your business. But I want you to just hold on a second before you give up and go back to understanding what this strategy, understanding that this podcast is really showing you to go beyond the busy work. You see, in our business, we get so busy that we forget about the impact. We become so busy, we forget about the purpose. We become so busy that we forget about the strategy. You're busy just doing tasks, and those tasks are nowhere near related to moving the needle as in financially, moving the needle as in growing your community, growing your leads. And you have to really ask yourself, is this a strategy or a to-do list? Am I just going down and just checking off all the boxes? Or do I have a step-by-step plan as to where I'm going? When you don't have a business strategy, you can't filter through when to say yes and no. And a lot of times that busy work is just a whole bunch of yeses that you were never supposed to say yes to because it is not aligned to moving you towards where you're trying to go. And we've all been there in the business. You have that connection with somebody and you don't want to say no. And you're like, oh, but yes, but you're looking at your calendar and you don't have time because you should be building your course. You should be working on your digital product. You shouldn't. You're like, well, I don't want to be selfish, so I'm going to give in this spot. But if you had that business strategy in place, if you had that zoomed out view in place, then you would know that telling them no is actually saying yes to your business and saying yes to your plan. So you have to really understand that whatever you do and in everything that you do, you have to ask yourself, according to this real strategy or this thing that I want to do, what problem am I solving? Who am I serving? What's my profit model? And we don't want to talk about money. We always want to talk about serving and giving, but we don't want to talk about the money part. And the money part is what's going to help you stay in business. And without a money strategy built into that, not knowing how much money you need to make today, how much money you need to make this week, this month in order to keep your business going, you're overlooking a whole bunch of things and you're saying yes to the wrong things and no to the right things. And then how can you be consistent in this strategy? So every month when we get together and we talk about our overall strategy, there are three things that we have written out on our board. We ask ourselves, is what we're doing this month aligned to our vision and mission? And that's a pause right there to ask yourself, do you even have a vision and a mission for your business? And if you don't, that could be why you're not growing or scaling or even bringing in the cash flow that you really need to bring in. And then we go and we ask ourselves, okay, this is what we said we were going to do for the year. Are we hitting those goals and milestones? And what needs to happen right here to kind of push us forward? So we reevaluate, hey, are those goals still aligned? Is that really going to make sense? Because what you thought about last year may not be where you're at in May. We're halfway through 2025, and where you ended in 2024, you may have grown in knowledge, you may have grown in passion, you may have grown in understanding, especially if you've been following these Be Great podcasts. And so you have to relook at those goals and those milestones and ask yourself, are they still the same? Do we need to shift? Do we need to align, or do we need to get back on track because you may have gotten so far away from what you were supposed to do that you need to realign? And then my favorite thing is, are the systems and tools in place? Is it helping me to be consistent and scalable? And we go and we look at our systems and tools and ask ourselves, is this working for us? What do we need to revamp? What do we need to add to it? Because we know if we're not aligned to our mission and purpose, if we're not hitting our milestones and goals each month, and if we are not putting the tools and systems in place, then our strategy is going to fail. Our systems are going to fail. And so, this is how we build out our conversation each month to ask ourselves, are we growing as a business? So, are you meeting? Even if it's a self meeting, a staff meeting with yourself, even if it is with an accountability partner, where are you reflecting on these strategies? And how is it going beyond just a to do list and actually have you moving towards accomplishing what you have set out to accomplish?
Mm, so good. Such good. Yeah, if you've been watching the Be Great series, we have been dropping all these tips and strategies and tools and the purpose for this podcast is really to help those out there that are feeling stuck and don't have these things in place, because we also want you to be great as well. So I love it, love it, love it. Let's dive into making data your co-pilot.
Ooh.
Um, yes, 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 yes. Strategy without data is really just hope, right?
Mhm.
I talked a little bit about, market research and, checking out what your competitors are doing. And sometimes we feel like, oh, well, we're different. We don't have any competitors. We all have competitors doing the same thing. Me personally, I don't compete, but I'm still looking at what everyone's doing, and I still have
Sure.
to make a decision on how I'm going to run BALM Global and Ladies of Leadership, and how I need, like, what things need to be in place. So you have to identify 3 to 5 key metrics, right? They're your KPIs that tie directly into your outcomes. That is so important. You have to review them weekly. You have to align decisions to what the numbers are telling you. It's so important. Dr. Carolyn was talking about the 3 questions they asked. Her organization talks about each month. That's reflection. That's, kind of weeding out what's just not serving us, what's not making us grow, what's not bringing in the cash flow that we desire. And it really plays into when you have these metrics identified and you're doing this on a consistent basis. Do you have time to say yes to something else that doesn't align
Mhm.
with your mission, right? These things in place will help you. They're on your schedule, whether it's weekly, monthly, quarterly. They're already set in stone for your organization, that when someone says, hey, can you do this, and that you're building something, you can easily say no and not feel regretful, right? Not feel, now if it's a totally like a no brainer, sometimes you have to shift. That's okay too. But at least you know that you have something in place and you're not just, out of the air making these decisions. Um, and it's really empowers not just yourself as a CEO, as a founder, but it empowers your team. with different dashboards and access to insights and educating them on how to interpret the data that you are collecting, right? We have a community. If you see that your community has 100 members and only 20 or 30 of them are engaging, is that a problem for you in your organization? Do you need to do more? Do you need to do less? Do you need to kind of revamp where you're taking them? So as an organization, you have to look at your organization from every angle. What's happening on the day-to-day basis? And the facts may not feel exciting, but they will fuel your smartest moves. They definitely will fuel your smartest move. When you have that data to tell you, hey, things are just not working the way you think they are, it's time to pivot. That is your co-pilot. Your data is going to take you, and you have to look at data as many times as you can, because we can think things are working and we have the numbers, they're coming in, but is it hitting your goal? Like, are you just meeting the mark, or do you want to kind of extend it? So an example of this is, instead of choosing a marketing channel based on trendiness, analyze which platforms yield your highest customer lifetime value, right? And double down on that. Perfect example. We have so many social media platforms that we can showcase our business, but there's Instagram, there's X, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn. And if like, I'm a Facebook person, that's where I love to be at. That's my home. I've been there for so long. But I'm still getting leads in Instagram. So now that I'm getting leads in Instagram, do I now want to pivot, even though that's not my personal choice? But the data shows me that my clientele lives there, my avatar lives there. So now I have to nurture that. So that's a decision as an organization I have to make. Am I going to add time to that, or am I going to split the time, right? So many decisions that we can make. Just do it strategically, but without the data, you will never know. So make it your co-pilot. Dr. Carolyn.
Wow. Getting that data is, a part of putting systems in place. I always say that. And a lot of times you can't collect the data because you don't even know where to go and get the data, because you don't have those systems and programs in place. And when it comes to making a decision, even decisions like, should I be on Instagram? Should I be on Facebook? Even decisions like, should I be doing a course, or should I do a masterclass or a workshop? If you do not have a strategy in place and a system, then your decision making is going to be cloudy anyway. I always say that the strategy tells you what to do, and the system tells you how to do it, and the data tells you if you should keep doing it. And so these are the things that we have to fully understand, is that you must have systems in place. You have to have SOPs, organizational things. You have to have CRMs. You have to have places that you go, dashboards, so that you can see data. We have a huge dashboard for each one of our businesses that we log into and keep it up. And it tells us how much we've made in our boutique for the day. It tells us how much we've made in our training business for the day. It tells us how much we've done in our training to succeed in business today. And it just keeps it out. It tells us how many leads have landed on our page, how many people have clicked, where they have come from. And that helps us to make clear decisions on how to move forward. And how did we get that? By putting systems in place that will collect that information for us, so that we continue to know how to move. And that's what I call CEO peace. I am at peace with seeing my numbers and knowing my numbers, and actually knowing that it is telling me how to continue to move throughout my business. I will see something, I'm like, wow, people actually like that, or they love that on that platform. Then I need to do more of that. I need to show up in that way. And so sometimes without a strategy, everything feels like it's urgent and unclear. And the reason why it feels that way is because you don't have anything mapped out. You don't have the results in front of your plate, in front of your face. So you don't know how much money that you're making. So anytime something shiny comes along in your inbox or on Instagram or Facebook, we're clicking on it and we're taking yet another masterclass, yet another YouTube series, yet another this, yet another that. But it is not even aligned to getting us to where we need to go. To this point, our systems are so in place that we even know how much we're going to spend for advertisement. We know how much we're going to spend in sponsorship. We already know how much we're going to spend so that when it comes to me, I already know if I can say yes or no or even maybe to see if it'll fit. Whenever someone makes an offer to me and I see another class or another workshop, I know that, hey, I have to say no because right now we're focusing on this. So anything that is going to educate me in this area, I am going to eat more of it. But a lot of times we don't know because we haven't written down anything. And so I love Asana and ClickUp and all of those systems so that I can brainstorm and put my SOPs in place so that I can put this is how we handle this is how we handle that in place. Because if not, if there's no system for it, then your strategy is going to be all over the place as well. It's going to shift every month, every week, every hour. And then, like Nikki said, you will not get that data to tell you how to continue to move and to show up in your business. So when you're sitting down and you're looking over what you have in place, ask yourself, is this system aligned to my strategy and where I want to go in my business? Am I continuing to make decisions each and every day that is going to help drive me to move forward? Or am I in CEO chaos? Or am I in business owner chaos every single day when I wake up and I'm hanging on by a strand every day, not knowing what decisions to make because I have no strategy and I have no system. And these are the things that we really want to look at as we move forward. I know with Nikki, she loves systems, PDFs and SOPs, and so I know she's a person that's like, yes, it needs to be written out. The plan needs to be there, and I'm a person to back that up and say, hey, not only the plan needs to be there, but you have to be able to track the results and track if that plan is going to work for you. And the way you always know if the plan is working is through numbers, retention, and either cash value of that plan. And if you have the retention in your community, the retention in your clients, and you have the cash flow to match it, 9 times out of the 10, that is a good system that you have in place. And all you want to do is just make it stronger and stronger and stronger as you go along. So let's enter into CEO piece. Let's make sure that we have those systems in place so that we can track and continue to grow. The one thing that I learned when I was in direct sales, an untracked number cannot grow. So you have to track in order to grow. Because if you're not tracking, you won't know if you're growing or if you are going under.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Carolyn, for that tip. And just really, I love when you said that the strategies is the plan, right? The systems is how to do it, and the fact that um, without any of that, we're really lost, right? We're really CEO chaos, just all over the place. Again, just going back to just feeling overwhelmed when systems are not in place. And you know what, we really, if you have an organization and you are speaking to people on a day-to-day basis and they're asking you like, how do you do this, and you don't have an answer, that means an SOP needs to be built, a new system needs to be built. That means you have not touched that, and people are seeking that in your business. So I thought that was great, a great segment to really share that concept with those that are really trying to make it work, the cash flow to come in, the profit, right? Sometimes we're in business for so long, just investing that we're not getting the profit. We don't get to that point where we're in profit, and that's my goal for each and everyone listening. But we're going to go back to prioritizing ruthlessly. And when I say prioritizing ruthlessly, is those yes or no to something else. And every yes is a no to something else, right? Either a no to your own organization or a no to a blessing for someone. So we have to be very strategic in making those decisions. I know when I started in this space, I was like, yes to everything. I was in 8 communities. And then I was like, okay, I'm investing all this time, all this money. Yes, I got exactly what I needed. I went in there and I kind of soaked everything. I kind of recycled what I didn't, right? I put it to the side. I said, okay, this is not going to serve me. This I don't need. But then I had to start kind of backing out. And not because the communities were not serving me, they just weren't aligned to my mission. And
Yes.
whatever I was getting, I got, and there was no growth in that. So everything has an expiration date on it, right? Everything has some type of expiration, and you have to know when. So you want to use the Eisenhower matrix here. You want to do that 80-20 rule weekly. You want to identify what drives the results in your organization versus what just fills your calendar. I've seen my calendar, all types of colors filled out, and really seeing that was each connection, which each time span, was it worth the time that I either spent on it? And then I had to kind of start eliminating the low impact tasks and start delegating them. That's a huge priority thing. Sometimes as solopreneurs, which that's how we usually start, we're doing everything ourselves. We are the marketer, we are the brander, we are the website builder, we are the copywriter, we are everything under the sun, and we're not getting anything really done. And we don't have time to actually focus on the impact and giving the knowledge as coaches. There's different, obviously, entrepreneurs and things like that. So you really have to kind of tackle it from that perspective. You want to be that 80% is really just all the stuff that we kind of put on a to-do list, right? And we need to switch that, and it has to be more of the me or yourself in your business actually doing the action. Let me tell you that Dr. Carolyn is a beast. She has prioritized. She is up at 5 a.m. on Plantation Sunday. She is there Monday through Friday, like always giving and offering, because she's created her system and that works for her. She knows her timeline. She knows when she's going to be doing her thing and she's going to give the value, and then the results happen. Because she's already built that model. People are connecting with her. They're joining the Passionpreneur Facebook group where she gives all this tons of value. And then, that leads them into her training you to succeed, which is, her Disneyland. I want to call that her Disneyland, where that's really where the magic happens. So you have to, and as a leader, you have to model focus for your team. If you are not focused, your team's not going to be focused. If you don't know, and something happened this weekend during the event, and then Elena Rodriguez, who's our partner with Besitos Beauty, went live because she was also hosting an event. We did the Empower to Inspire tour in Chicago. It was absolutely amazing. She was celebrating Surrender to Rise, and people were asking us, like, when people were coming into the venue, they were like, how can I help? When you've done it for so long, you don't even know how to answer that question because you don't know what you need, right? So with a clear plan, with everything that was going on, I just couldn't answer that weekend. It was crazy when people are offering the assistance and you can't really tell them, hey, you can do this and this is how we do it. That means you need to prioritize your systems, going back to that. So leaders don't get overwhelmed, they get focused. You want to make sure that you're just not busy working or creating busy work. You want to create a strategy that's going to flow through your day, that's going to make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and you have that peace that Dr. Carolyn has, with her organization. So say you're presented with 5 partnership opportunities, which they come all the time. You see them in your
Yes.
inbox, you see them in your in your DMs, you see them everywhere. Rather than chasing all of them, choose the ones that align. Sometimes and I'm perfectly guilty. When I first started this, I thought every opportunity was the opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And then I get the experience, and not that they weren't opportunities, they weren't the opportunities I thought that they were, right? They led to other things, which was great. But if I was more strategic in the beginning, I would know what was going to serve me and what wasn't. And, the investments that, have been laid on the table. And, you just have to learn from those, but you really have to, again, a bold yes is a no to something, but a bold no is a yes to something else too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. So you just have to know your organization, know your mission, know where you're going, and the decisions will be much easier to be made. So thank you so much, Dr. Carolyn.
I want to say, I want to piggyback on what you said, and you talk about my systems, but the reason why you probably couldn't tell somebody what they needed to do to help you is because you had already mapped out what you was going to do, how you was going to do it, and you did not feel like explaining to this new to get it done. Guilty. And it's not that you don't have the systems in place, just your systems are so tight, you're looking at that person like you finna mess up the flow. So just I don't need any help right now. I don't need any help.
Yes, because I had it in here. I knew what I was doing. I was ready to just get it done, right? And
Yes.
those that had their roles, they already had their roles. So I already had like my team. They knew what to do, how to do it.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
everyone just wanted to help. So I get that.
Yeah, and we have that all the time, especially when you have the spirit of loving. Like we know the things that we're great at. Like I am great at, showing up and doing things like presentations and getting my stuff together, things that I can just keep in my head. I don't have to share with anyone. But where my team comes in is like executing things and asking me, so how do you want this to look? Because they know that I have a vision in my head, and they strategically know how to get that out of me, so that when we show up, I'm not looking at them like, what? Or fussing at them
Mhm.
and chewing them out, and they have to go out with a smile on. They're like, oh, we just got the tongue lashing of our life. But that all falls back on me, because if I don't communicate what I need and how I need them to show up, then they won't know, and they're not in my minds. Of course, I try to train them to be mini me's and to think like me and walk like me and talk like me, because that's beneficial. But that's not always great, because you always need someone to help you carry out the plans that's not like you, that will help
Mhm.
to bring things together a little bit. And that's why I've chosen the ones that I have on my team to help me with that, because I know I can be whimsical. I know that I can be like, oh, let's do this. And I know that I love shiny. I'm a high I, like on the DISC system. I'm like, you could probably tell in 10 seconds, like I'm always excited, always amped up. And I have to have people around me to bring me down off that, because then I used to make decisions based on the hype, based on that. And
Mhm.
just like Nikki was a part of different things that wasn't aligned to my program, just because I didn't like to say no. So one of the things, if you are struggling with that, one of the things that we recently got, set around, because we do have some people in our lives that we're like, we never want to tell them no, but we can't say yes all the time. So what we did, we actually pulled out a strategic backup plan. So when someone makes an offer to us, we can say, that may not be what we can do, but here is what we can do. So we do have a can do a bucket where we're like, okay, we can give pins, or we can give merch, or we can give a free coaching session. We can do this. And so then that person can decide if they want to accept it, or if they want to say, no, that doesn't align to my mission. And that way we don't feel like we are just like saying no all the time, especially to
Mhm.
people that we love and we want to see their business grow. But as you know, you only have so much that you have to give, and we give in different ways. And we give a lot of scholarships to our early childhood community. We do a lot of free training for that. And as you know, free is free to some people, even though they're given time, but it's never free to the person that's hosting it. So there are systems and things that have to be paid for. So if you're really struggling with that, you may want to go to the drawing board with your team as a strategy as to a yes to what you can do and a no to what you can't do. And so that's what we've decided to do in our business, just because a part of our mission is giving. A part of our mission is supporting and loving on teachers and business owners, that we can say no to that, but here's what we can give you, because we always want to give back. So that may be something that will help with those no's at at times. And then sometimes it's just like an absolute no. We're not doing that. But and the person don't want what you have to give. And so it's like, okay, well, you said no and I said no. We'll see if we can come together later. And so that works.
Mhm.
But all of those are so important in your overall. So what I would love to share with you guys is just how to create a simple strategic plan. So we talked about all these great things. And one thing that has helped me in strategy sessions with both my team and other teams. And so in different businesses, I sit with owners and ask them, like, where are you at? How can we make this simple? What is your plan? How to get it done? And we follow these steps, and it's actually steps. It spells step, with them whenever we're trying to put a plan together with them in all the businesses that we serve. So what I do, number one, with them is the S, is we set our vision. We talked about this in the very beginning. Nikki, we talked about zooming out. She talked about looking at the bigger picture and understanding what the outcome is going to be. Like, where is this thing going to end up? What's the point of doing this? Is it just busy work, or is this an actual empire that you're trying to build? And I will ask people that question, like, what's the vision for your business? What do you want it to end up? And they're like, I never thought about that. Then what are you doing right now? What are you working towards? Well, okay, let's talk about that. Because if you know that this is the end goal, we know how to show up now in the present. So as set your vision, know that bigger picture where you're going. And even if you're not at the very, very end, because that can change, and I give you permission to give yourself permission to understand that your end results may change based on opportunities and based on how you position it. We never thought that we would end up selling our schools, but that ended up being the goal, only because our goal was to structure and duplicate. So the structure was in place for us to be able to sell it when we needed to sell. So you want to have a vision, but that could shift depending on life and things that may happen. So then you want to target the priorities. I say my top 3 needle movers per day. What is in your big 3? For us, we're a little bit more advanced. We have a big 5 that we get done throughout the day, just because we have multiple businesses. But in your business, what are 3 things that need to happen? And in my planner, I have my hourly planner, and next to it, it has my top 5 priorities for the day. For you, start off with your top 3. What is something that needs to get done today, that needs to move you forward in your business, move that needle in your finances, in your leads? So setting the vision, and then targeting your priorities and knowing what's important. And I often throughout the day have to go back to that 5, because I'll find myself drifting. I'll get on a
Mhm.
phone call, I'll have that conversation, and then all of a sudden that 10 minutes turn into 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Now I'm back on a call with a one-on-one client, and I just missed that opportunity to get one of those needle mover things done. So I have timers on my phone and reminders, because during those empty times in my schedule that I call empty, I do have a purpose for those things. And I will lose that purpose if I do not keep that target thing in front of my eyes.
Mhm.
Then I have established systems. What tools or processes will keep your things flowing? A couple years ago, I had to look at my day, and I said, what does a day for the CEO of 5 flourishing companies look like? What time does she wake up? What time does she go to bed? How often does she go on vacation? How often does she work out? How often? What does that life look like? And a lot of times we don't know what that life looks like, and we haven't even sat down to establish a system to help us get there. How can I keep track of all my businesses without forgetting to touch one? How can I? By having a dashboard up. So I created systems and processes to keep me flowing. And while it is a strategic thing to do co-working at 5 a.m., it is also an accountability for myself, because when I know that I have to get up and show up for people at 5 a.m. in the morning for co-working, for Plantational Sunday, or even on coaching calls, guess what? That makes me have to be up by 4:30, or I'm going to be looking crazy whenever I get on live at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be like, yeah, you guys are going to be like, she should have just stayed in the bed. This is just a lot. So I established those systems to not only support my community, but to support me. I need to do Plantational Sunday for you. I need to show up at co-working for you. And so it becomes something that is established, and it flows and it works both in my personal life and in my business life. And then the last, the P in this step is plan and pivot. We work in 12-month years. If you've never read the 12-month year book before, read it, listen to the audio, understand it. I do not work in 12-month systems. While we do set goals at the end of the year, they are soft goals. And I know in a 12-week span, that is what I'm focusing on. And I find that I get more done in those 12 weeks than I do when I used to plan for the whole year, because I kept feeding myself the lies that I had time. And you really don't. You don't know how much time you have. And that is why we have our monthly meetings, so that we can pivot real fast and get back on track. Because when we have 12 months, we start doing it mid-year, and months have gone by and time has flown. And before we look up, it's 2028. And so we plan and pivot as a part of this. So set your vision, target your priorities, establish your systems, plan and pivot. Because without those steps, then you are going to find yourself just aimlessly walking around, just doing things, being busy, and not getting anything accomplished. So let's follow those steps.
Oh my God, that was awesome. Can you repeat the book that you said? Is it on Audible as well?
Yes, it is the 12-week year.
12-week year. Perfect.
Yes,
Thank you so
the
much. I want to
12-week
make
year.
sure that our listeners write that down. I'm going to order it as well, because that's what I'm always looking for, just some way to grow. And these are things that are very low cost, especially when you are not positioned to hire a coach. Like, we need to use all of the resources that we get, these podcasts that are out there, these webinars, whether they're free or not, or low cost. I suggest that what has helped me joining, anything that was free when I was first starting, I always got something out of it, whether it was how the host hosted, right? How they, created their programs, what I loved, what I didn't love, what I think would work for my community, what I didn't work for my community, all these books. I was, on my plane ride to Chicago, and I'm listening to this Audible. I forgot which one it was, because I had to download 2 or 3, and then I did fall asleep because it was just a long ride. But you need to
That's
take
me.
advantage of these resources. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The final thing, I kind of want to bring it home before Dr. Carolyn shares another one if she has one. But I love all of the questions that she asked herself throughout her journey, when she's having these different types of meetings, what she's doing on a daily basis. And the best strategies evolve. Even if you build a strategy today, as you collect the data, right, while you're doing it, right, you can't just build a strategy, not share it with anybody, not let it work for you, you can't get the data, right? So, and it's going to evolve. Perfect example, when I did I built my coaching, my notary coaching program in 48 hours with 2 years of experience and everything that I've learned throughout that year that they didn't teach me, because I did have a coaching mentor. I did have a course that I took that I paid thousands of dollars for, just to make sure I was prepared. And what even investing in that, I noticed that and me actually doing it day in, day out, morning to noon, filling up my schedule and my calendar with that, I learned so much strategies for myself to make sure that I can get signings done, which would usually take a new notary about an hour and a half, and I condensed it to 45 minutes. This is what you do. These are the documents they only need to see. I've learned every document, created a little script for it. This is what you're signing so that they feel comfortable. They know what they're doing. You know, you have those lawyers and those teachers that want to read every line on a deed that's not, client friendly at all. But because I learned it, I was able to now create a proven process for my notary coachees and show them, hey, you can do this in 45 minutes. We're going to prepare you. We're going to do mock signings. And it evolved every single session, every new group. I didn't have all the questions. People were asking me questions that I didn't think about when I first built it. And guess what? I built it into the system. And now everyone from the first cohort all the way till now has everything new, updated, and it's just going to keep growing that way, right? So it's going to evolve. It's never going to stay the same. And if it does, you got gold, right? It's working. You have 100%, transformation rate, all those good things. But again, you're not going to know until you put it in place. And you want to schedule monthly strategic pulse, I call it. And that's really the heart of your organization. These are sessions to review what's working, what's not. You want to use postmortem after projects and learn from wins and failures alike. They both are an advantage. We're not going to take the failures as a loss. Those are the lessons learned. Everything's not going to work. Every idea sounds great, but until you put them into action and collect that data, you're never going to know. So you want to create a culture of feedback with anybody that you touch or that touches your organization. You want to encourage your team to reflect out loud and challenge some of these assumptions that either we have as the leader of these organizations or that people are bringing to our space. So the momentum without reflection and motion is really without direction. It really is. So just a sample, after a failed project launch, don't just move on. We're not leaving it there. Don't just say this was a loss. You want to deconstruct the decision path that led you to believe that that wasn't a success, right? And was the market misread? Was the pricing off? Did I market correctly? Did I have the systems in place? And I love that throughout all of our conversation today, it's always leading up to a question. You have to have that conversation with yourself, with the CEO to the CEO, look in the mirror and really dive.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's how you're going to take your business, your organization, your mindset. Every avenue in your organization is going to evolve and go to the next step, and it's going to grow and it's going to continue to be great at every other level. And that's how you elevate your mission and your vision, and you get people noticing what you're doing because you didn't give up, you didn't leave it alone, you didn't, just throw in the towel. And we don't want you to do any of that.
Yes.
Any of that. So that's what I have to say. Just reflect, refine, and repeat that process with every program, every masterclass, every live, every podcast, everything that you do. But what I am going to tell you is give yourself grace. I don't want you to beat yourself up. I had speakers do absolutely phenomenal. And at the end, they still had some type of doubt. Oh, I didn't do, we do this to ourselves all the time, and that's not going to help us in any manner. It's okay. First of all, nobody knew what you were going to say anyway. And if they're giving you that positive feedback, oh, you move me and you transform me, that was the only mission, right? That is all you needed to do, was to empower and inspire someone. And you did that. You may have not done it the way you envisioned it, but it was definitely the way it was supposed to be when you got that impact. So give yourself grace when you feel like things are failing. And when you do that, you open the door to continue to being great. That's what I have to say. Oh, you're on mute.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And you don't just be great. You don't just become great. That is planned out. It is showing up. And in order to be great, you have to have a strategic plan in order to get there. And I absolutely love what you said. I'm like, that is so much needed. A lot of people are just hammers on themselves, and I don't know, it's like a self-sabotaging mindset that you're never good enough. And you have to understand that constructive criticism is great, but you don't want to beat yourself down so much that you don't even feel comfortable going back out there and sharing again. And so I know that we can be hard and critical on ourselves, but you have to get up, dust yourself off, understand where you can fix and become better, because a lot of people don't know what your mistakes are until you tell them. And so
Mhm.
you make note of them, go back to the drawing board, make those tweaks, take what they said, listen to what they said, no matter how much you want to say, I didn't do great. Listen to that feedback, because that tells you what you need to keep. And then sometimes what you need to keep is something that you never planned for in the first place. And so that's what makes it so great and so amazing. So I thank you. Like, this is like the jam right here. And I can't wait to see everyone who is tapped in. You guys have to come back to this video and let us know how strategic planning has changed your business, how you've leveled up, because I know from listening to this, you guys are going to go back and create that CEO piece for yourself. I know that there are going to be multiple millionaires that come back to this place and say, hey, it was because of the strategic planning, it was because of Nikki's boldness to create this podcast, to collaborate with me, and all of that, that made me say yes to my business, yes to myself, and yes to a strategic plan, yes to systems, yes to data. And that is why you are excelling in your business today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Carolyn, giving these tips to
A
all of our
pleasure.
listeners. It has been just a joy we're almost halfway through the year, like you said. We have the rest of the year, and coming up in June, we will be talking about building and leading high performance teams, discover how to assemble, motivate, and lead teams to outstanding results. That's one thing that a lot of our solopreneurs are going to need right now. Some people need a team. They need to know how to get them together, how to manifest them, to be very strategic on writing it out. Like, draw your avatar. Literally, I'm not even going to say it now. I'm so excited because I already have my tips. But I'll wait to the show in June. We're going to tell you how to lay that all out, and be confident that now it's time to let some of those things that you hold near and dear to your heart, delegate them, so that you create the space, so that not only your organization continues to be great, but now you have a team that you can now nurture, support, and let them be great as well,
Yeah.
and show their genius in your organization. This has been phenomenal. As always, it's a pleasure just sharing this space with you. Thank you. Continue to do great things, and definitely like,
Well,
comment, subscribe. Continue to share with us. We are going to start looking at 2026 Be Great series as well, and some new topics. So if there's anything that you haven't heard, or something that we touched on that you're like, oh, we need some more of that, we want to know that too. So
yes.
definitely share that. And if you want to connect, with Dr. Carolyn. Her website is trainingyoutosucceed.net. Scrolling right here at the bottom, definitely connect with her. You can find her as Carolyn Bobb-Green on Facebook. You definitely want to join her Passionpreneur community group. She's doing amazing things there. You can connect with us on Empower to Inspire or Ladies of Leadership in Community. We have our 2 Facebook groups there. And you can check us out at buildingaleadershipmindset.com. We don't want it to just end here. You just watch our videos. We want to connect with you. We want to see what you're working on. We want to see how we can support and definitely make sure that we're all being great together.
Yes.
You want to close us out, Dr. Carolyn?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Guys, go forward and grow in your business by creating these plans. It is exactly what you need. This is going to be your superpower to taking off. And the next 6 months of this year is going to be extraordinary. Breakthroughs are going to happen in your business. And we are here to not only encourage you, empower you to be great, but actually be the examples and hold your hand through it. So come along, join the community so that you can get more than just a voice and a face here, but you get real live touch and interaction. So thank you for being a part of the Be Great series so far. If you haven't seen the other videos, go back and watch those videos on the channel. And I look forward to training you guys to succeed in your business.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Make every second count. Bye for now. Have a great one, everyone.